Hey everybody, today Rahdo runs through Spiel, or Essen 2013, or the International Game Days in Essen, or whatever you want to call it. Spiel, Essen, woohoo! I'm actually getting to go this year. I'm really stoked, really excited, and I've decided I really need to start figuring out exactly what games I needed to check out, whether it was to buy or just to play or to film for Rahdo Runs Through or you name it. And so I started out looking at Eric Martin's excellent, amazing, incredible effort, his, the big, massive Essen 2013 Geeklist that's on Board Game Geek. And originally I figured I would do the same thing I did with the Gen Con preview, where I just go through his list item by item and talk about all of them. But then I realized that would take forever. I mean, it would be the Thornbirds of board game podcasting, or it'd just be War and Peace style length, because there's just so much stuff in there, and so much of that stuff is, it's reflective of what Essen is all about. And in Germany, board games are much more broadly accepted in popular culture, and so a lot of the games there are for families and for kids and whatnot. So, gosh, it seemed like half of his list was just going to be me saying, nope, not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested, and I thought that wouldn't be a particularly compelling video. So I decided to make my own geek list, and then I would run through that, and I'll share that for everybody so people can look at it and reference it and all that. Now, the geek list itself has 100 new games, that are ranked from least interested to most interested. So this will actually be a countdown of really the top 100 games I'm excited about to check out at Spiel and hopefully pick up, but we'll see what happens when we get there, because who knows? It costs a lot of money. So let's just jump right into that. Now let's see here. I'll tab over. Hello. So this is Rahdo Runs Through the Essen 2013 Spiel Geek List. Although I should say, there's actually more than 100 items in this geek list. You can see it's 5 pages long, and that is because I'm also including right up front a lot of expansions that I'm hoping to check out at the show as well. So, before we actually get to the countdown of top 100 games, we're going to go through the expansions. They're all in this, and let's just go, shall we? Enough talking. All right, let's see how well. This is a little chunky, but okay. Anyway. Right at the top of the list. Now, I know Lords of the Waterdeep, Scoundrels of Skullport is pretty widely available, but you know what? It's not here in Malta. And I am certain that it is going to be being sold by the droves. I'm sure there'll be mountains of this thing at Spiel. So it seemed like it was worth mentioning. Why am I excited about? Well, the base game is absolutely amazing. It's a fantastic game. Jen loves it. Much more than I thought she would. I thought she'd like it, but she loves it with a passion. I think it's pretty cool. And, we're looking forward to new stuff. The main things this adds are some new zones you can go to, new places you can put your workers, because, Lords of Waterdeep is a worker placement game, but it also introduces this new concept of corruption, that if you take certain actions, and for the most part they're the new actions, you can earn corruption over the course of the game that has certain game benefits. Also, there's several new Lords of Waterdeep that you can be, and they really start adding some more interesting elements besides just get the most skullduggery quests or whatnot. So overall, it sounds like a really good expansion. There it is. Now let's just keep going. Page down to the next one. Pandemic in the Lab. Pandemic is one of Jen's and my favorite games. It's probably it is our top co-op game. It is the game that actually got us into modern designer gaming back in 2009. So we love Pandemic, and so the notion of new stuff you can do is very cool and exciting. Obviously, there's a bunch of new roles you can take, so that's nice. But the real thing it adds is this whole lab, the system that you're actually looking at a picture of. This is the new board that gets added, where you don't just collect all the matching cards you need and then just head over to a field office and boom, you've cured the disease. You actually have to be collecting certain cubes, and you have to do all kinds of new stuff to feel like you're actively trying to find a cure. And it adds this whole new side element to the game that's actually very neat. And the other thing I really like about it too is Matt Leacock, the designer of Pandemic, worked on it, but so did Tom Lehman, who is the designer of Race Through the Galaxy. or a race for the galaxy, which is very, very cool. So I really like that notion that a new designer is working on Pandemic and is going to, put some new twists and breathe some new life into the old girl. So that's really, really cool. Very excited about Pandemic in the lab. Moving on. Next expansion. Now, actually, I should say, we already got this. It actually showed up in the mail because I originally backed Escape in Kickstarter last year, so my backing included getting this. So I was one of the first people in the world to get it. Jen and I, we've already played it a few times. We think it's awesome. But just because I have it didn't seem to be fair not to mention that it will be at Essen. And if you have Escape, you should definitely seek this out. The coolest thing it does, well, it adds 2 new modules. You can see them right here. It adds several new rooms that you need to do certain things, like the Tree of Life there. It basically is dying, and so you have to go there and you have to use Golden Mask to bring it back to life. And there's one that's a ghost, this little ghost guy who you have to chase around and try and deal with a haunted temple as well. So there's some cool stuff. And the even cooler thing is there are now player roles where you could choose to be the Lara Croft style Tomb Raider or this kind of magician type guy or tough guy. You can choose all these different roles, and they have very, very different skills that gives you a lot of power. But by the same time, the game gets easier because you have them, but the game gets harder because you work in these new, very tough rooms that have to be dealt with, because not only do you have to get rid of your gems, you also have to close down these special rooms to be able to escape. So that's very, very cool. Bring on more Escape. We can't get enough of it. We still love the game a year later. Absolutely awesome. Escape Quest expansion at Essen. Next one. Page down. Okay. Rattus. Now, actually, there are several Rattus-themed things. And I don't know, ever since Rattus came out, and I was in 2010, I think, it was the first Essen I went to, and I picked up Rattus. It seems like every year since then, there's some new Rattus stuff, and just to be a completionist, I keep buying it. This year, there are 3 distinct things. This is a picture of the expansion that is for Rattus, the card game, Rattus Cardus. But, let's see, actually, I scroll down a little bit, there's the text. The main one is Rattus Mercantus, which has 12 new class cards, so it mixes things up even more. And then there's an expansion to the expansion, the Arabian Traders, which you can't use. It's like kind of a little extra promo that goes along with the expansion. And then there's the picture here, Rattus Cardus, a whole bunch of new places you can go. Rattus is a very, very cool game. Jen and I like a lot. We actually like the card game quite a bit too. But I'll be honest. Gosh, I'm having a hard time getting Rattus played anyway. I don't know if I need to keep chasing the latest, greatest expansion. But, if it doesn't cost too much, I probably will, just because of the completionist bug in me. But anyway, so the next one, Velu Spell, Order of the Gods. I got Velu Spell last year at Essen, and I have yet to get it to the table. Oh my God, it's been a whole year, and I know I want to. It's, from everything I've seen, it looks like a very, very cool game. I'm really excited to give it a try, but it's just been such a crazy year, and there's been so many games, it just keeps falling by the wayside. And now there's an expansion with 4 cool new characters: the Goddess Frey, the Resourceful Dwarf, the Monstrous, there's some cool new stuff. And I don't know, it probably won't cost very much. I'll probably get it because I'm pretty confident I'm going to like Velu Spell when we eventually get it to the table. And let's see. Oh, Edo, I still haven't gotten. I am so excited to try the base game. It's killing me. But it's so expensive. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to pick up a copy of Edo at the show. And while I'm at it, I'll definitely get the expansion too. So I don't really know much to say about this other than I know Edo is fantastic. I know what Tom Vassell said, it made his head hurt. So I'm excited for it because that sounds like exactly what Jen and I are looking for. And so, hey, more expansion goodness. That'll be nice too. The latest Galaxy Truckers. Can never get enough of this. This is basically a bunch of new boards with some, some sizable changes. It doesn't change the way the game works, but these new types of crazy ships you can build, creates that much more variety and fun factor to an already amazing game that Jen and I absolutely love. So that just seems like a no-brainer. Among the Stars. Among the Stars actually came out earlier this year. It's a A card drafting space station building game that's a lot of fun. Jen and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I've already done a run through for it. You can check that out if you want to learn more. And now there's an expansion coming out with ambassadors, new cards that offer new types of abilities. I think they actually add a fourth action you can do in the game, if I recall correctly. Introduce a fourth action that allows the player to invite them, so you can invite these ambassadors to your station, and so it becomes kind of like a more flexible. Your space stations become more flexible. They don't just become written in stone. They change dynamically. It's very, very cool. And in fact, I have a very personal interest in ambassadors for reasons I don't know. I don't know if I can actually say. Yes, I can. I am actually an Among the Stars ambassador. There is going to be a card. There's cards for several board game reviewers, and I end up making the cut. So you'll actually be able to play with a Rahdo card in Among the Stars when the Ambassadors comes out. So I'm very, very stoked. I cannot wait to get that in my hands. That's a really, really cool thing for me. Hopefully it'll be cool for you guys too. Gankopolis. Another expansion. This is another must-have expansion. Gankopolis is an amazingly fun game. One of our favorites from last year. We absolutely love our Gankopolis. And so now there's an expansion where you can see it adds, new special characters that'll do particular things. It adds a bunch of new buildings. It adds events. It adds green area. It just adds a whole bunch of stuff. I haven't even looked into what it is because this is a buy sight unseen. Gankopolis is so nice that I can't wait to try it. I mean, the base game is fantastic. I can only imagine how much better, or how much more fun. I don't know if it'll get better. I don't know if it'll get more fun, but more variety is always appreciated, and just love it. So gotta get Gankopolis, the experts. Let's see, Snowdonia. Like Rattus, Snowdonia actually has several things that will be available at the show. And I have to admit, I'm not really quite sure how it works because it seems like there's different publishers, who are putting out, Surprise Stare is putting out some of them. What's it called? Indie Games and Cards, or Indie Cards and Games, which is the publisher that picked it up for America, is putting out some of them. Maybe they're all available through Surprise Stare. I'm not really quite sure. But the main one is this, Jungfraubahn and Mount Washington, which is a full expansion. It adds, for people who didn't already have it, the little worker characters, so you don't just stick with the little pawns. Although I like the little pawns. They were very nice. But basically adds 2 new scenarios, new mechanisms with dynamite. Now there can be snow up on top of the mountain, so that's all very, very cool. And that's the main one that's coming out. But then there's a couple of other things coming out, too. The Britannia Bridge and the Daffodil line, and a promo card, which I think at one point was actually going to be included with the game. I don't remember exactly what the deal is, but there's a lot of stuff coming from Snowdonia. And Snowdonia was also one of our absolute fave games of last year. We absolutely love it. Such a fantastic, fantastic game. And so can't wait to get some new... So, basically all these new different scenarios. They'll change the basic rules, or not change the basic rules, but enhance the basic rules and give us new ways to play the game. Very, very stoked for that. Suburbia Inc., also one of our absolute favorite games. I'm really becoming a broken record here, but this is just another must-buy, sight unseen, must-have expansion because Suburbia is fantastic. I've done a run-through for Suburbia and Snowdonia, by the way, and Gankopolis, and several of these games. And Tzolk'in, the one that's coming up next. But, it's interesting. I should talk about, as kind of a follow-up to my run-through for Suburbia, Jen and I still absolutely love it. We still think it's a fantastic game every time we play it. But I have heard from other people that, you love it because you only play it 2-player. With 3 or 4 players, downtime starts getting really, really bad. And or maybe it's chaos. I forget what it is. No. It's just that the game becomes so chaotic that you can't really plan as well because, by the time it comes around to you, the board has changed so much. I don't really know if that's true, but I will stand by Suburbia as a 2-player game, one of the best games, by hands down, of 2012. And so the expansion, a must-have. You can see one of the big things it adds is these new border spaces that, fundamentally change, the overall feel of the zones you're trying to create. Very, very cool. Let's see, next one. Tzolk'in, the Mayan Calendar. 2 things are added in this, tribes and prophecies. Tribes, meaning that now, players already did have a lot of unique starting, with the really, really cool system of choosing cards that lets you determine what my starting resources were like and targets and all that versus yours. But tribes gives you even more. They give you everybody has their own unique tribe and they have their own unique special powers, which is awesome, always really, really great. And, there's a couple of examples right there on the screen of some tribes. And then the other thing is the prophecies, which I believe there's a whole bunch of tribes to choose from and a whole bunch of prophecies. I think in every game, 3 prophecies are in play, and that gives 3 unique bonus point scoring objectives everybody could be competing for, because they all try to make the prophecies fulfilled. And so that's a great thematic way to add a new feature to the game. The notion of specific goals. I mean, there already were specific goals in the base game with the the super buildings, which I think there are only 5 in the game. But now there's even more things you can target, which gives you more variety, more different ways you can score points in the game. Fantastic. And let's see. Getting up almost to the end of the expansions. We're almost to the games, folks. Thanks for your patience. But Last Will getting sacked. Another fantastic game from one of our absolute favorite designers, Vladimir Suchy, who does not get near enough credit. And now, I'm always, whatever he does, I'm going to buy Sight Unseen if it supports 2 players, because he's just amazing. And now he's putting out an expansion for one of his best games. Last Will, I have not done a run-through for yet. I really should, because it's an amazing, funny game that takes very standard game mechanisms and completely turns them on their ear, and it's just so wildly entertaining, and it just has a great sense of humor. I mean, you can tell the sense of humor just looking at this. The game is all about a bunch of people who've just inherited a small fortune, and they're in a race to waste and blow their money as fast as they possibly can. In the base game, you can do it by spending your money on crazy, extravagant things like expensive dinners and trips around the world and stuff like that. And bad investments in real estate. Now, with the expansion, you can start wasting your money by getting really bad jobs. Jobs that you're just terrible at, that make you waste money, like being a governess. And, obviously, as a rich guy trying to lose money by being a governess because I can spend all this money on the kids I'm honoring, and, and all the kids clearly are not having much fun. Absolutely awesome. Great idea. And then the other thing it adds, as I recall, is, getting married. There's another way to blow your fortune. Get married. Absolutely fantastic. Can't wait. I'm sure this will just make us laugh even more and help us get the Last Will to the table all the more. Great expansion ideas here. Can't wait. Vladimir Suchy, easily one of the best designers working out there that nobody seems to heard of. This and Shipyard. I mean, his work is fantastic. Anyway, so can't wait for his expansion. And then the last one. I think this is the number 1 of my most excited expansion. Nope, it's not. It's my second most. Although I'm very excited about this too. Keyflower. Keyflower was actually my number 1 game of 2012. Spoiler alert, I know I'm eventually going to do a top 10 for 2012. Keyflower was the tops. It was by far, well, not by far, it was a great year, but it was our top ranked game. We still absolutely love it. Just love it to death. Such a great auction-heavy 2-player game with so many cool, unique systems. And now here comes an expansion that adds new buildings and all the stuff you expect. But the main thing that I'm excited about is it adds this new concept of the tiles. I mean, these could have been tiles that are in the base game. These red outlines indicate that there are now, as you're building, as you're working the logistical puzzle, figuring out how to put the hexes together to make your road network work, to transport your good arounds, you're also having to pay attention to how you're now building pastures. As you can see, there's a pasture here that's got a pig in it, and so so it becomes an even trickier puzzle to solve of how to most efficiently build your new colony in the new world. Fantastic. Can't wait. Very excited about Keyflower The Farmers. And now, for the number 1 expansion, from Jen's and my point of view anyway, as 2-player Eurogamers, of Essen 2013. Scroll down. Come on. You can do it, little netbook. Oh, you can do it. Number 1. Oh, wait, no. So still. All right. That was number 3. The number 2. I actually forgot about this because they only announced it a couple days ago. It just kind of came out of nowhere. I was not expecting it. Actually, that's not true because the Fresco Big Box that's coming out supposedly had this modules 8, 9, and 10. And I remember I was worried at the time, well, what about the rest of us who aren't going to buy the Big Box? Because we've got everything Fresco. That is getting released as a standalone thing. The bells, the wall fresco, and Medico, or medicine, or basically your little helpers can now get sick, and you're trying to make even fancier stuff, bells and whatnot. I don't even know what these do. Sight Unseen buy, absolute must-have gem, and I love Fresco to death. And now, finally, number 1, Dungeon Pet's Dark Alleys. This is another. I think this might be Jensen my favorite game from 2011. Dungeon Pet's absolutely amazing. I don't remember for sure. But anyway, amazing, amazing game. So unique, so fresh, so different from anything else out there. You know, the way that it really makes you feel like you are actually caring for a living creature who has its own wants and needs and is unpredictable, and you know, in so many great ways that it turns its head on the way simultaneous worker placement works. So many cool things in the base game, and here comes an expansion that adds a bunch of new creatures to take care of, but more importantly, a bunch of new places you can spend your workers. This is a picture they just released of one of the places, the psychiatrist office, where if your pet is feeling particularly depressed because you have not taken good care of him, you can send him to the Cthulhu shrink and take away his sadness, which is the thing on the right, and also potentially lose some tentacles, which if you haven't taken good care of them. So that's new. Being able to finally get rid of sorrow cubes is a big, big deal. So and that's just one of the new places you go. So I cannot wait to see what is next in this expansion for Dungeon Pets Dark Alleys. Okay, now, that was a quick run through. See, I think I'm going to stop right there because I don't really know how long I can effectively record before my netbook will implode. And for all I know, it seems like it's chugging pretty bad. So I'm going to stop recording right now, and you can go to the next, where I'll actually start counting down the top 100 or most exciting, most interesting to me and Jen games of Essen 2013. Okay, folks. So, the button, of course, for that is on screen, and along with the buttons for everything else. I guess I'll put the buttons for all the links. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. Haven't thought this through. But anyway, you can push the button. You can see it on screen there if you're not on a console or a phone. Anyway, push the button. Push it now. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks for watching, everybody.